Welcome back to MCPconnects. We're continuing on with our trip around the world, and today, Maya Youssef takes us on a musical journey to Damascus, Syria, as she tells us about her upbringing and the doors music opened in her life. She also talks about music as unconditional love, and she performs and dedicates an incredible original song for our rock stars and hospitals around the world. Here we go! Joining us from London, we have Damascus-born and queen of the Qanun, Maya Youssef. Maya, how are you?
I'm very well. I'm very happy to be here.
Good. Well, we're thrilled to have you and so appreciate you making time to connect and just tell us about you and your amazing instrument. So first, tell us a little bit about your upbringing. Set the scene for Damascus and your culture, and what inspired you to pick up the Qanun.
Sure. I grew up in a house full of literature from all over the world, music from all over the world. It was just basically books, CDs, vinyl, cassettes. And I was just surrounded by this culture. And my dad would have us listen to, we would have a daily listening session every day. And it can be anything from Miles Davis to Tibetan monks jamming with African musicians. We were very lucky because my dad had such an eclectic taste. And yet my mum was like more of the traditional. So she liked the traditional classical Arabic side. So my ear was open since I was very little to a wide range of music. And it was like the key thing in the house, really. And I was very lucky because my parents are just adore. I mean, they're both writers, poets, artists, and yeah. So we were surrounded by that, and yeah, I was extremely fortunate
Yeah,
to
absolutely. So
grow
it
there.
sounds for sure like music played a huge role in kind of your identity, the way you viewed the world and the way you communicated with your family.
I'm very lucky, and so yeah. I mean, we would just go from Bach to like to I don't know Philip Glass. It was really beautiful, and I was very grateful for it. So naturally, I was singing all the time
Yeah.
and tapping things all the time, and so my parents signed me up for a music institute. It was like the only children's music institute and the best in the city. So I spent like a couple of years learning the basics of music theory, all of that. But then when I was 8, I was supposed to pick one instrument, and my parents were like, violin? And I was like, oh, okay. So I wasn't extremely keen, let's put it that way. I did do 2 lessons or 3, maybe, I don't remember. But then one day I was heading towards the music institute with my mom. We were sitting in the back seat of a taxi, and it was like a hot summer's day. And I don't know if you've ever been in a Damascene taxi where it's extremely ornate. There are these things dangling from the ceiling, and the guy just turned the radio in, and then there was like this beautiful wave of love that overtook me. It was the Qanun, and I heard it for the first time, and I was like, what is this? And the guy said, it's a Qanun. And I said, I want to play this instrument. And he said, you're a girl. This instrument is for men. And I was 8 years old at the time, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, I will play this instrument. And then he just laughed at me, you know? And my mom didn't give much weight to the conversation because she knew Maya was a rebel, you know? She just don't give much weight to the conversation. But then that night when I walked into the music theory class, the head of the institute walks in and says, well, there is a new class, it's a Qanun class, if anybody is interested, follow me. And obviously I ran, and I was at the top of the queue, and my mom her jaw was open, you know, like, Qanun, what on earth? But yeah, this is, in 2 days' time, my parents returned the violin, and I had a massive secondhand Qanun waiting for me after school. And it has
Wow.
been with me since then.
Wow. So 8 years old, you hear the instrument in the taxi, and this is the doorway that completely opens up a new path. And
Absolutely.
and has created the queen of the Qanun. So how, I mean, since that day in the cab, now is the Qanun recognized as more of a, I mean, is it more open to females to play it? Have you opened those doors for other
Absolutely.
women to play as well?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I mean, the number of women versus men playing this instrument was very small. But since that time, they have increased, and which is really beautiful. But still,
Yeah.
if you weigh it, still, the balance is just like this. But I mean, there is more of us, which is really, really beautiful because traditionally, if you go back and back in history, it was a woman's instrument.
Okay.
Yeah, but then there was like a flip in society, and women were not encouraged to play any instruments, and if they had to play instruments they would play western instruments, which is really bizarre because these are our native instruments.
Huh. So the
Yeah,
flip wasn't necessarily just the Qanun. The flip was almost just culturally across the board for any music
I
and
mean,
any
this
instrument.
is my interpretation,
Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah.
people might disagree, but this is an instrument of power. And when I see power, because I mean, I don't mean power in a forceful
Sure.
sense,
No, no, sure.
because this is an instrument that's a Qanun means law. Okay, it's like the piano of the Arab world. So it is at the centerpiece of an Arab ensemble. So if you have a Qanun on your lap, you automatically have like a
Hmm.
like a you know some
Like a
spotlight on you.
mantle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And because women were not encouraged to show up, then naturally they wouldn't be encouraged to play instruments where you would have your spotlight,
Yeah.
that spotlight on. So yeah, I think that's my own interpretation because till this day, some people think, "Oh my gosh, she plays the Qanun, she must be radical." There are very few people who think like that, thankfully, but they're still there.
That's incredible, though. I love that. I mean, so one of my questions was going to be, with everything that's happening in the world, one of my questions was going to be, tell me something good that's happening in Syria. But I think you just did. I mean, you just talked about this incredible shift that you helped to create and inspire of that shift towards bringing more power to the females in Syria and opening up more doors and allowing more opportunities for them. Do you have a story of just kind of an incredible experience you've had because of your path taking you down to play the Qanun?
Yes, sure. I mean, unfortunately, I haven't been in Syria since 2007. It has been a long, long while. But oh no, that's not true. That's 2011. Pardon me.
Okay.
Yeah, but I felt really humbled when I was invited to play this gig in Algeria, in Algiers, and I was invited to go with the British Council for a festival. And at the time I quit teaching. Like, no, I'm done with teaching, no more. And the lady was literally begging me to give a workshop for female canon players. And in the end I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it, even though I promised myself 4 years ago no more teaching. And I went there and I saw them. Oh my god, it was like a heart opening experience because I couldn't believe how hungry they were. And we were supposed to spend an hour. We spent 5 hours
Hmm.
because they were like,
Yeah.
everything was flowing. They were so hungry and they were so in need of someone, a woman like them, to show them the way. Um, and these are women who traveled from different parts of Algeria to, and they had to beg their parents to come,
Hmm.
because of the political situation back then. And it was really humbling for me. And I was like, okay, I remembered myself when I was suffering, when I wanted somebody to inspire me, to give me that
Yeah.
spark. And it was very humbling. And ever since, teaching became part of my life path, really, part of my life purpose. So, and seeing them thrive now, oh my gosh, I get the tingles every time I see them. So
How does
Yeah.
playing it on your lap like this, with this connection to your body, you can feel the resonance of the instrument as well? Does that play a role in the way you play and engage with the instrument?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I used to put it on a stand.
Uh
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I got rid of it.
huh.
Because it's just so, you can't explain it. You are one with the
Yeah.
instrument. Every I feel that everywhere, you know? And I become one with it. The boundaries between me and the Qanun, the soul, and we rock and sway, and
Hmm.
sometimes I knock microphones if I am on stage. So and I feel like I want to dance, but yeah, you become one. And it's a deeply spiritual, deeply healing experience.
Well, that's exactly like you said. I mean, there's that is what the world needs right now. Is some healing and some spiritual experience to bring us closer together.
Yeah.
What does music mean to you, given your history with it and the way you have broken barriers and opened doors? Can you tell us what music means to you in one word?
Love. Just unconditional love.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, makes sense. And it's, the thing, one of the incredibly powerful things about music is it's this language, even without words, right? Where you can play it and it crosses borders and boundaries and division and all of those things. So that love is the perfect word for it.
Yeah.
Do you have a song that you would like to dedicate and some love you would like to deliver to these kids that we're supporting today?
Absolutely. I'd love to dedicate Queen of the Night, which is a track that carries the energy of joy and wonder, to the amazing rock stars Princess Lexi Aragon, Tommy Scotland, Jonathan Kelly and TG Washington, Carly Kansas, Tucker and Sydney Washington, and to all the amazing, beautiful kids watching at Roland McDonald Children's House in Washington and Alaska, there with CARE Colorado, Sydney Children's Australia, York Presbyterian, George Mark Children's California. Yes, that's to all of you guys.
Awesome. I cannot wait to hear Queen of the Night. Oh, Maya, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, it's beautiful and haunting and melodic, and there's a story. There's an absolute story, and you can feel the power. Thank you so much for sharing that with our rock stars.
My absolute pleasure. I think you're all amazing, you're all beautiful, and you make this world a beautiful, better place. So thank you for existing. And we love you.
Thanks so much for tuning in. If you're a musician and would like to join us in supporting hospitalized kids, email us at rockstar@melodiccaring.org. I'm Levi Ware, and this is the Melodic Caring Project.